Yeah, YouTube, it's your boy Zama here with a new video. First off, I hope you guys are all doing well. Today is not going to be a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter related or specific video. It's going to be more so about my journey with fighting games and how I was able to improve at a fast rate. And the reason I do say fast rate is because through a lot of interactions through, my streams or coaching when I did Medify, YouTube comments, whatever it is, people have shared stories where, or their experiences of being stuck at a point of not knowing how to improve, not understanding some concepts of fighting games, and stuff like that, right? So basically, this video is for me to kind of highlight how I learned fighting games. I'd say at a faster rate than most people do, and how I was able to understand it faster, and what I kind of focused on, when I was learning. And obviously, every day you're still learning when you're playing fighting games, but this is kind of what got me to like a level of, okay, I can see improvement and I can see that the time I'm putting in is starting to pay off. So this video isn't just only for beginners, it's for pretty much anyone really. Like even me, I still see a lot of things that I can improve on, because fighting games, obviously with the level of competition, there's always stuff to improve on, right? So this is kind of me sharing my experience and kind of giving you guys some pointers on what I focused on to maybe help you guys in your own gameplay. So if you guys enjoy these type of videos, definitely let me know. Drop some comments on what you guys want to see next. Obviously like the video if you guys do enjoy these. And with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, y'all, before we do get to the concepts, I do want to talk a little bit about my journey. As I mentioned, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I kind of want to give you guys an introduction for those of you who aren't really familiar with my channel or just kind of my competitive background. My first fighting game ever was probably Street Fighter 2 on PS2, which I played for fun with my brothers. I'd say my first fighting game that I try to learn, like actually improve at, because I do think there's a big difference between playing a game and trying to learn it, and improve on it. Which is, when you're playing a game, you're learning the controls, you're playing for fun, you're button mashing, whatever it is, right? But when you're trying to learn a game, you're learning the strategies, concepts, and you're trying to improve. And based on if you're a competitive person or not, then you expand upon that, right? Then you start maybe trying to enter tournaments if there are any tournaments. Depends on the person you are, right? If you are interested in even taking that path. But then when you mix those two together, when you're playing for fun and learning, that's where I feel like games are the most fun, when you mix those two together, whether it's fighting games, shooters, whatever it is, right? So, my first fighting game that I learned and started to improve at, or trying to get better at, was Injustice 2. This game came out around May 2017. For that first 6 months of that game, I picked up a character, learned some combos, played for fun online. It's like most people do, right? And I wasn't entering tournaments or anything like that. Maybe I entered one or two, but that was for fun. I wasn't really trying to get better at the game, I'd say. But the first tournament or that I try to improve at or get better at is War of the Gods Season 1. This was an online circuit that, for Injustice 2, it was just an online circuit that people can play in, had some money in it. And at the time, I actually thought it was only available to pro players, which was kind of funny at thinking about it. I would see videos on YouTube of, people uploading videos on it. The video that I can remember the most was Honeybee versus Sonic Fox, which was, that's why I thought the tournament was only open to pro players. I thought it was just a pro circuit. But then I found out anyone could enter. It's an open bracket. So I entered the last week of War of the Gods Season 1, which was, I'd say, at the end of 2017. And probably won 2 matches, and then I got cooked. So that was GG's for that bracket. And at that time, that's when I first found out, oh, wait, we can play in this. Or I can play in this. And then Season 2 was announced, and War of the Gods. And then I was like, okay, so Season 2 has maybe 1 or 2 months until it starts again. Maybe 3 months. I don't remember the exact time frame, but I do know it was end of 2017, beginning of 2018. So from that time span, from end of 2017 to War of the Gods Season 2, that's when I started to improve in fighting games, or starting to try to learn. So I'd say from 2018 to 2019, that 1 year, you know, that 6 to 12 months, that's when I really dived into fighting games because I had an interest for them. That's where I started learning about fighting games and dived into the concepts that I'll mention. And just to give an overview on the rest of the path, you know, Justice 2 was my first. I went to one regional, which was a last chance qualifier. Got 7th in my first ever offline, which wasn't bad. And then that's where it led to MK11 being my first competitive fighting game, traveling to majors. And then after that, I played in some Street Fighter 6, as I mentioned. You know, I had 2 good results, which was Can Opener, which was a very competitive tournament at the beginning. I think I got like 3rd, I don't remember. And then here I got 2nd, losing to Punk, so not a bad loss. Evo ended up getting 97th, so this was basically Street Fighter 6. I don't have too much on here because I did end up dropping the game to focus on Mortal Kombat 1. And this game, you know, the competitive tournaments for this game it was a bit weird, so these are my placements for this game. But yeah, essentially started with Injustice 2, and then that's where I kind of moved on to, you know, Mortal Kombat 11, which was my definitely main fighting game, and then Street Fighter 6, and then MK1. But yeah, that's kind of an overview on how I started and my journey. And with that being said, now I'll get into the concepts of, you know, how I approach fighting games and what helped me break the barrier of learning. Alright, y'all, the first concept I do want to touch on is character slash combos. And I know this is a bit of an obvious one, but I don't want to skip this one because I feel like this is the main appeal of fighting games, at least to me, and I do agree. I do think that most people probably find the same appeal that I did. When you hear about fighting games or see fighting game art or whatever, you instantly think about the character you can play, or characters depending on if it's a tag game. And then when you start seeing those characters in action doing combos, then you want to start doing those combos yourselves, right? So I didn't want to skip this step because just like most people, this was the first thing that intrigued me. And the reason I want to touch on pod in this step is because when it comes to learning a fighting game or trying to improve at it, I've had a lot of questions, whether it's my stream chat, whether it's my YouTube chat, of people asking me what's the easiest character to learn, or for a beginner, you know, what character should I play if I'm just starting out in fighting games. And I have given answers before, such as like in Mortal Kombat, I've said play Scorpion, play, you know, an easier character. But truthfully, I think you should play any character you want. Whatever character appeals to you, I think you should play. And the reason I say this is because, let's put it in Street Fighter terms. Now, Street Fighter is a bit different, let me mention, because there are unorthodox characters like Dalsum and Zangief. But in Mortal Kombat terms, like, you know, those Dalsum and Zangief, these characters don't really exist. Like, Dalsum is like such a weird archetype. That's why it's different in this game, but for the majority of the cast, you can probably do the same, right? So, people will probably tell you to learn Ryu if you're learning Street Fighter. Now, Ryu is definitely a beginner character, just like Scorpion is. Not really like beginner in terms of, you know, he's just that easy to play. I do think he's one of the easier characters in this game, but I mean, like, in terms of how he plays and learning the game of Street Fighter, he's definitely more of a beginner character. Let's say you want to play a character that, like, you don't want to play Ryu, you're interested in a character like Akuma, for example, right? Now, Akuma is definitely a harder character than Ryu, I will say that, from playing him. But if somebody were to ask me, like, let's say somebody came in my chat and said, I'm really interested in Akuma, but everyone's telling me to play Ryu, I'd say play Akuma, because even though you probably will learn the game easier with Ryu, whenever you decide to switch from Ryu to Akuma, you're gonna kind of struggle because you're going from an easier character to a harder character, right? Even though the concepts you learned, which is like, you know, a basic fireball game, anti-airing, you learn that with Ryu, you're still gonna have to get used to Akuma's ranges, Akuma's buttons. You're gonna have to get used to his fireball timing, how his DP functions. So you're still learning a whole new character, right? So even though Ryu is easier to approach, I still think you should pick the character you want to play first off. So, like, if I put in Injustice terms and how I learned, I wanted to play Firestorm, but I ended up playing Darkseid because I was also interested in Darkseid. It's different, you know. If there's 2 characters you're interested in, let's say you're interested in Ryu and Akuma, then I'd say, okay, play Ryu. He's easier. But if you're interested in only one of them, so for me, I was interested in Firestorm and Darkseid, but I ended up playing Darkseid because it was easier, and I was also interested in playing him. I'd say, you know, play the character that's easier, but make sure to play a character you're interested in. Like, don't drive away from a character that you're interested in, just because of, you know, this character may be harder. So that's the first thing I want to touch on. Now, obviously, once you learn this character, that's when I suggest character guides. I'm gonna touch on this topic a lot. That watching people play character guides help a lot as well. When I was learning Firestorm, I watched a character guide, and that helped me learn Firestorm and how to play him. So, when you pick your character, pick a character that you like. If you're struggling with the character, you know, boot up a character guide on YouTube. Boot up, you know, find info just like on the internet for a character that you like, and learn that character. So I definitely suggest picking a character that you like. Don't stray away from a character that you like because of they may be harder. You know, you're getting into fighting games because you probably thought this character was cool. So definitely pick the character that you like. So that's the first concept I wanted to touch on. Alright, the second most important concept, or I will say most important concept of the video, because this is truly what helped me understand fighting games on a whole new level. And I know it's going to be pretty simple for some people because, you know, a lot of y'all might know this already, which is frame data. But frame data really helps you understand the situations in fighting games and how to approach them. Because when you're learning fighting games and you're not aware of frame data is, or let's just say fighting games, you're probably getting annoyed with somebody mashing, doing the same move, you know, those type of complaints. This guy's doing the same move, he's spamming this, why can't I press, why can't I move, stuff like that, right? When you learn frame data, it really opens your mind in a whole new, like, it really opens the knowledge of how fighting games work and how situations work, and you really start to understand, oh, this is why he got hit here, this is why he can press here, this is why I can press here, this is why he's mashing, all that stuff, right? So learning frame data really just answers all your questions. So all the questions or frustrations you have most of the time, if you just refer to frame data, it'll, you know, explain that for you. So now I won't dive too deep into it because, you know, the explanations, while they are simple, trying to directly explain it and make sure you guys understand it perfectly, that will take a bit more time. So if you guys want a separate frame data video, definitely let me know. Alright, y'all, the third concept that I want to key in on, and this is probably the most important, or the second most important concept aside from frame data, technical wise, is to make sure to watch your own matches back. And not just your own matches. If you're struggling with a matchup, watch someone else who may be playing the same character as you, playing that same exact matchup. See how they approach situations. See how they press their buttons. See how they just deal with the matchup in general. So for example, if you play Ryu and you're struggling with a Akuma matchup, you know, against Akuma, search up Ryu versus Akuma. Watch that matchup. Watching tournament sets is also very important. Make sure to watch high level play. See how those players are approaching situations. See how they're pressing their buttons. And when you learn frame data and you start understanding, you know, the concept of the game, what they're doing will make sense to you. You know, you may see someone mash, like press when it's not their turn, and then that tells you, oh, okay, so that's where tendencies come in. That's where this player's playstyle comes in. So that's where all these different things come in. So, and it all starts with, if you're not playing against them, it all starts with watching. So the reason I say watch your own matches as well, and trust me, this is such a key thing that helped me improve, is because if I pull up a random set, even, you know, to this day, if I watch this, right, if I just click on this random video that I made, obviously, but if I click on this video and then I go to somewhere in this set, right, let's see here. Okay, so this is something I did that was good. So this is where, okay, so we're doing something good here. I finished my combo, I delayed my button, saw he got hit, converted into a full combo, and then now I'm in a good situation. So let's see how I approach this situation. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I have the health lead, and they don't. This is my friend, my good friend Ninja. They don't, and let me back up. So let me play the life lead, right? Obviously he used this and teleported. So now I just have to wait until it's my turn to where I can get away again, right? Essentially, my goal here is to run down a clock because I'm playing a character who can get away easily. And I have the life lead. So I don't want to get hit here. I don't want to take any risk. That's why you see me jumping back. So this situation I'm playing pretty good. I'm keeping it simple, making him, making him take steps back, and I'm not overextending. So you want to watch and critique on what you're doing well, and if I make a mistake here, I can also watch on what did I make a mistake on, how can I improve on that. So trust me when I say watch your matches. Like, trust me, watch your matches. They help you so much. So yeah, this is just an example of me watching tournaments. And let's say it's not me. Let's say I'm watching somebody else play. Let's say it's them playing. Let's see what I can improve on here. Okay, Ninja finishes his combo, and I'm understanding the situation, right? So Sonic here, I understand what he tried to do. What Sonic tried to do here was catch the backdash of Ninja's backdash. They weren't able to. The Ninja recognized that they committed to something that doesn't gel and block and armor through the gap right here, right? So you see how this little 5-second clip is me noticing, oh, okay, that's what they did here, and that's why Ninja armored through that. So watching little situations like that, when you're actually able to understand all these little situations, that's what helps improve your gameplay, and that's what helps you understand fighting games at a more higher level, you know what I mean? So trust me when I say, if I probably said the amount of time I spent playing versus watching, obviously I probably played more, but I probably have watched 3/4 as much as my gameplay. I'm watching either my own gameplay, other people play, or tournament sets. So make sure to watch, make sure to VOD review. Trust me. Alright, and now we're going to get into the last concept. Oh yeah, the last concept I will touch on is mentality. Now mentality, your mental is probably the most important thing. Aside from, I know I've said frame data is the most important thing, but aside from the technical stuff, like, the actual gameplay, your controls, your buttons, all that, your mental when it comes to approaching, not even fighting games, just anything, is so important because obviously you guys know your mentality is what drives you to do something, get better at something, it's what causes you to give up. But when it came to fighting games, I probably, when I first started out on Injustice, I definitely had some moments where I got probably hella angry, like way too angry than angry than I should have, because of somebody playing a certain way or somebody doing this and me not being able to deal with it. But then I kind of quickly settled into the mentality of, if I lose, whether it's to anyone, I lost for a reason, right? Unless it's like nowadays, or I will talk about MK1. I've had my honest criticisms of it. I think some of the things in that game are beyond player skill and just reward actual just like horrible gameplay. That's just me. That's my opinion on it. But aside from that, speaking for most and how fighting games have been, or just competitive games, most of the times you lose, you're losing because of you not knowing how to deal with the situation, or you playing a situation wrong. So I kind of settled quick into the mentality of, if I lost here, it's because of something I did wrong or I wasn't playing my best, right? So when I settled into that mentality, that's where VOD review tied in, because whenever I lost, instead of being annoyed or feeling discouraged, I just reviewed my own matches or watched other matches and took notes or whatever it is. Everyone has their own methods. So I just watched matches back and I was like, okay, so this is what I did wrong here. Why did I get hit here? And that's where I kind of settled into the mentality of, whenever I lose, I'm losing because of this. And also another important thing, and this is a very important that most people realize they don't do or struggle with, be open to criticism. And I'm talking about like honest, good criticism, not like somebody just hating on you. Ignore those people. But I'm talking about, like, let's say you're playing a team game, for example, or even a set with a friend. If they give you advice on what to do better and what you're not doing, don't take it in a negative way. Take it in a positive way and actually listen to their advice. Because most people that you train with do want the best for you. There are I'm not gonna say most people, actually. There are a lot of people who just hate to hate. You know how people are. But definitely be open to criticism, and then you can obviously determine if it's good criticism or somebody just trolling. So be open to criticism. Watch your own matches back. Don't get discouraged at losing. Losing is a part of winning. Like every time you lose, you're losing because of a reason, like I mentioned. Most of the time. You're losing because of something, so make sure to improve on what you're losing, and that's where VOD review comes in, like I mentioned. And that's why I think it's so important, because VOD review and mentality ties in, because you need to be able to understand why you're losing. You know, understanding why you're losing is what gets you past that barrier of feeling stuck or just not knowing how to progress after a certain point. So definitely take mentality, like it's definitely probably the most important thing aside from the gameplay aspect of it. But yeah, those are 4 things that you know, I kind of, I guess not wish I knew, because this is honestly how I entered fighting games, but these are kind of the things that helped me improve quickly, in my opinion, and kind of what helped me cross the barriers that I had to deal with, that other people may still be struggling with. And it's something people don't really tell you, you know, like they may seem basic, but something people don't mention. And that's why I kind of want to make this video. I know it's a bit different than my usual videos, but again, if you guys enjoyed these type of videos and want more videos like this, or want, like, you know, framed out of videos like I said, mentioned, for example, I'm definitely open to them. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video in the comments, and I hope I was able to help some people who may be struggling, and help you guys with your own journey and improving. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's your boy Xombat here as always. Appreciate y'all for all the love, man, and y'all take it easy. Have a great day and stay safe. Peace out, y'all.